Hello and welcome to AHS Countdown. I'm your host, Max Bells, and I'm joined by co-hosts Taylor Gottney and Reese Kinder. And today we got an exciting matchup between the Opelika Bulldogs and the number 3 Auburn Tigers. This is the 98th ever time that these two teams have faced each other in one of the greatest rivalries, I'd say, in all of Alabama high school football. And the series is currently tied coming into this game. If the stakes weren't high enough, it is 47-47 all time, along with 3 ties as well in the history of this great rivalry. But Auburn did win last year's game by a score of 51-29 at home. With that being said, let's start off with the Opelika Bulldogs. They're currently 3-3 overall after a loss last week on the road, a surprising loss against number 10 in 6A Theodore by a score of 16-10. The Bulldogs are also 3-1 in Region 2 play so far this season. Their one region loss came in Week 4 against the currently number 1 in 7A and undefeated Central Red Devils. But it was a pretty close game. It was 28-18 on the road. But considering this is only Opelika's second ever season in 7A Region 2, and they're already not giving not only the best team in 7A but also the best team in Region 2 a run for their money on the road, you can tell that this Opelika program is heading in the right direction. All that being said, what are some things that this Opelika team will need to do to secure the win tonight?
Yeah, Max, this 3-3 record really doesn't show how strong this offense truly is. You know, they had a rough game against the Green Chipmunk Theodore last week with only 10 points to count for. But this is a weapon-loaded offense, I'm telling y'all. I mean, of course, you got the guy I've been talking about all season, number 16, Roman Gagliano, trying to actually get his first win against Auburn. You know, they've lost 3 years in a row. He's a very strong arm with an agile set of legs. They also have a running back trio, similar to Auburn. Number 5, Javian Williams, number 6, Calvin Hewley Jr., and number 24, Jordan Waits, that all get a decent amount of reps. You know, even though they only had about 60 yards rushing against Theodore combined, they'll definitely have a huge part in this game against the Auburn run defense. And one more guy to watch out for is the receiver that scored the only touchdown for the Bulldogs last game on a 48-yard catch. He actually mossed the guy. Like, he jumped over the guy, caught it over him. Jordan Tolbert, who is 6'2", and, you know, the Auburn corners are not very tall, so look out for his height on the outside. This offense is stacked. Some very decent players for Auburn to watch out for.
You know, on defense for Opelika, they haven't really been that good on defense. They forced a lot of turnovers this season, but they give up lots of points. First game of the year, they gave up 44 against Thompson. Central, they gave up 18, which doesn't seem like that much, but you can't give up a lot of points against good teams. So if Opelika looks to win tonight, they can't give up a lot of points.
Yeah, and coming off of a thrilling 13-7 victory on the road against the number 1 in 5A Ramsey Rams are the number 3 Auburn Tigers, who are 5-1 overall after that hard-fought win over the Rams, as well as 3-1 in Region 2 play. And considering this Auburn team is only an 8-point favorite going into this game according to AHSFHS.org, it's safe to say that Auburn is in for a tough one on the road tonight. With all that being said, how do the Auburn Tigers get it done tonight against the Bulldogs?
I mean, it's safe to say that this Auburn offense really struggled against Ramsey last Friday. I mean, only putting up 13 points in a huge game will not win the game or be accepted by our OC, Coach Wagnon. I mean, this is a very heavy run team as well with also a running back trio. Omar Mabson, of course, Tyler Flakes, Tremarcus Webb, amazing players. The running back trio is absolutely stacked and will have such an impact on this game. Omar also had our only touchdown of the game, so I mean, it shows how big the run game is for this Auburn offense. And new quarterback Henry Allen, I feel like he's gotten into a groove for this offense. He'll try to have a big game. And, you know, the O-line's got to block. O-line's got to create holes for Omar in time for Henry on the pass plays. I actually want to talk about, I interviewed Omar this past week, and he said he's ready to go out there and dominate the Opelika Bulldogs. You know, his first time being on varsity, going against Opelika in this big game. If he keeps breaking tackles like he's doing, definitely watch out for him tonight.
Yeah, Auburn on defense, they played very well last week, only giving up 7 points against a good Ramsey team. We actually thought that game was going to be very high scoring, but it turned out it wasn't. Auburn's defense did really good at covering the run game last game, and I hope they can do that again this game. Also, you know, continue to cover the pass game because Opelika, I know they have a good pass game as well.
Yeah, talking about that Ramsey game, I mean, me and you were at that game on the sidelines filming Blue Collar Mentality. You can check that out on YouTube right now. But, I mean, one thing that impressed me the most about Auburn was their adjustments. You know, because the first half, it wasn't great. It wasn't what Auburn would have hoped for a game against a tough Ramsey team on the road. down 7-3 at halftime. But I remember talking to Coach Smith and him saying all the boys have just flipped the switch in the locker room. They were just ready to go in the second half, ready to get back against the Ramsey team, and they did. They came back, scored on the first drive, got a 3-and-out, and boom, the rest is history.
Unlike Auburn University against Brock Bowers.
Yes.
This guy.
So Auburn High. I mean, that really impressed me last game. That's all I want to say.
Yeah.
And with this being not only an in-region game but also a rivalry, there is a whole lot to play for tonight. And like I said before, the all-time series between these two teams is 47-47. So the winner of tonight's game will not only get a big in-region win, but will also take the lead in this rivalry, which also means immense bragging rights for the next year to come. That being said, what are some things that this Tigers team will need to improve on from last game in order to come out here with a W?
Going back to what I said earlier, the O-line didn't perform as well as everyone would have liked last game. Yes, they played good. They just weren't the dominant O-line that I highlighted in Countdown last week. I mean, we were used to that early in the season. We were like, this O-line is stacked. They're going to get after it. They need to hold their blocks and come out pumped up in order to win this game against a very good Opelika defense that you just talked about. Granted, Ramsey was a very good defense with a lot of stars, a lot of highly recruited players. But especially for a new quarterback and Henry Allen trying to get into the system a little bit more, he needs time to make his reads. Of course, with that, I talk about it later, but like the differentiation in the play calling. But shout out to the O-line. They'll have a huge part in this game, huge part.
Auburn last game, they left a lot of open gaps, and also 2 weeks ago they did as well. When we talked to Coach Ferguson, he was talking about how he didn't like the gaps that they were leaving open. And Auburn can't do that tonight against Opelika, especially, like you said, a running back trio.
Yeah.
and if they leave open gaps, you're going to get guys running for probably 100, 200 yards, and you don't want that. But if Auburn can not leave those open gaps tonight, they should be able to continue that amazing defense.
And with that, we move into our keys to the game. Now, Auburn has different X factors that can help them take over a game. What do y'all think those X factors are or will be in this game?
I can't lie, last week I loved the play calling. The first 2 weeks when we had Henry Allen at quarterback, we ran the Wildcat a lot, a bunch of run plays. But last week we kind of took some chances with Henry. We threw the ball deep to, our star receivers, Ian Nation, Gibson, Loffridge, Griffin McLean, all those guys. But we had a lot of great motions as well and a lot of good differentiation between pass and run plays. And it really threw the Ramsey defense off. And against a great defense like Opelika, you've got to be able to do that. They can't be predicting what you're going to do. So I think play calling, switching up the play call every now and then, tricking, motions. I mean, last year we saw Clyde Pittman lined up on the field goal and caught the ball for the touchdown, fake field goal to the quarterback. We got to do that. We got to get a big trick play this game.
Yeah, last game on defense overall, Auburn was just amazing. Like holding the Ramsey team to 7 points is amazing, especially with the team they are in 5A. Possibly could make it to the 5A championship game later on this season. And if Auburn continues the defense that they've been having these past few weeks, they should be able to stop an Opelika team who really does score a lot of points overall. Because if you look at it against Central, Opelika scored 28. Or no, they scored 18 and lost. My bad. My fault. And then they scored, I'm pretty sure they scored, I think there was a game they scored like 40-something
Yeah.
as well. But, usually against big teams, if you look at it, Thompson, they only scored 13 points. So if Auburn's defense is good enough to stop them, then we should have maybe a blowout possibly in Opelika.
And now we move into tonight's player profiles where we each highlight one player on offense, defense, and shout out to the special teams, but we're out of players. We're out of players to highlight. So shout out Coach Smith, Towns McGoo, Tyler McKinnell, J.R. Buckner, Davis Smith, London Carter, all that entire, great special teams unit. I mean, you can only have so many players on one side of the ball. So now we're going to do offense, defense, and a wild card player that I'll pick at the end. And which players do y'all have as y'all's player profiles? Sorry.
There's a fly.
Which player profiles do y'all have as y'all's players tonight against Opelika?
So y'all can tell on this show I'm a huge fan of O-linemen. And talking about the O-line, I got to go with the tank, the absolute matchup nightmare on the O-line. Left guard, junior number 56, Hugh Bodiford. He is such a huge weapon for this line, and he creates holes, the holes that you were talking about, like you said, for the running backs, almost instantly, and he gives so much time to our quarterbacks. His max squat is 585.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So the fact that he gets pancake blocks every single game is not surprising. And they even line him up on the D-line sometimes when the other team's on the goal line. Just check out his huddle account. you'll see what I'm talking about. Pancake blocks left and right. Shout out Hugh, and go get yourself a huge game in your senior campaign.
My player profile for tonight is senior number 3, Jackson Mills. He's a free safety. And, you know, Max, I think you told me that he wanted to be on.
That was me.
It was you. Yeah, you told me that he wanted to be on the show.
When me and Max were on the sideline, he came up to me. He was like, "Yo, can I be your player profile?" I was like,
yeah, and,
"Sure."
You know, that really means a lot to all of us for a player to come up to us personally and just ask for a shout out. And also, it means a lot when which game? Oh, it might have been at the last home game we had, the homecoming game. Yeah, the homecoming game. A lot of the players, we had pictures of them looking at the Jumbotron and watching us. It just means a lot for them to be supporting us. But anyways, I'm going to get into his stats and what he can do tonight. Tonight he's going to be a big contributor for Auburn on defense. He has 16 solo tackles, 32 total tackles. He has 6.4 tackles per game and 1 interception. That's really big, especially against the Opelika team that runs the ball a lot and also has a decent pass game. He'll be a very big contributor tonight, especially with trying to stop that run game.
Yeah, so, I mean, for my wild card tonight, I think me and you are on the same wavelength here. Against a Opelika defense that's really good, especially on the D-line. Like, their front 7, their front 4 is really good. They're going to really challenge Auburn tonight, and that's why I had to go with number 64, Jalen Foster, who's the senior center. He's a huge reason why our running backs are able to run so well, because he's able to snap the ball really quickly and then get to, creating those gaps for the running backs to run through. He's also really great at snapping the ball, which, I mean, obviously that's an important part of centers, but there are some that can, sometimes struggle. That center to quarterback connection is really strong between Jalen Foster and Henry Allen, and I honestly haven't seen him do a bad snap all year. So, I mean, great for him, and he's also great at blocking, like I said, especially on pass plays as well. I mean, he's just an all-around stud, all-around great player. So shout out Jalen Foster, and also I want to shout out Hugh Bodiford, like you said as well. Me and him go to the same church. We're really close friends. So shout out St. Michael, shout out Hugh, shout out Jalen, shout out Jackson.
I actually want to go back to Jackson Mills. Being on the field, you can see that he's such a spark plug for this defense. I mean, he hypes him up. Every single play, big play that happens, you just see Jackson Mills, doing the shoulder bump, doing the football move, hyping his team up. So shout out to Jackson Mills.
I kind of feel like this game he possibly could have maybe another interception to add to to those stats there. I want to see that from him, get him another interception, and could help this Auburn team really win the game tonight.
Talking about him a little bit more. Sorry. We interviewed Coach Kitchens on Play Callers. He actually talked about Jackson Mills, coming up and making those big hits. I think he's actually forced a fumble, but he didn't recover it, so it didn't kind of didn't count. Yeah. But he's just amazing. Shout out Jackson.
And now we are going to send you to a quick commercial break, but don't go away because next up is the Friday night lineup. Don't go away.
Performing on stage takes mental and physical preparation. But one thing I never thought to prepare for was cervical cancer. 91% of cervical cancers are caused by the human papillomavirus, or HPV. For many people, HPV hides inside them and they never develop symptoms. But for others, HPV links directly to cancer. My cancer almost ended my career. It almost ended me. The good news is there are vaccines that can protect you or your children from cancer. The HPV vaccine is recommended for 11 to 12-year-olds, and a catch-up vaccine may be an option for teens and young adults. Talk to your doctors. You don't want HPV hiding inside your body like HPV has been hiding inside this commercial. Did you see all of them? Go to thinkaboutthelink.org to look again and learn more. Together, we can stop cancer before it starts.
Welcome back to AHS Countdown, and so far this season we have seen both current co-presidents Cordy Burt and Leah Hardy go 4-3 on the picks. We have also seen current communications director Carson Hester become the first and only guest picker so far to go a perfect 7-0 on the Friday night lineup. We also saw community service director Mary Margaret Buck become the first guest picker to take on an 8-game slate, and I'd say she fared pretty well, going 7-1 on the picks. And 2 weeks ago, we saw current co-vice president Olivia Naughton go 7-1 as well, coming just short of perfection. And last week, we saw social media director Audrey Wright finish 6-2 on a slate that was full of upsets. And with all of that being said, please help me in welcoming this week's special guest picker. She is currently the treasurer of HiDef, and sources tell me that her legal first name is actually Catherine. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Drew Durkin. Now, Drew, as treasurer of HiDef Club, what exactly does that role or job entail?
My job is I handle all the budgets, I get people what they need when they need it, and yeah, I just pretty much handle all the money and get HiDef what we need.
And with that, we move into our last segment, which is the Friday night lineup, where we will all pick who we think is going to win the biggest games across the state. And we're going to start off with a Region 4 at Region 4 matchup between Bob Jones, who's 2-3 and 2-1 on the picks, and they're going away against 2-1 on the region, and they're going away against Florence, who's 3-3 and 2-1 as well in Region 4 play. Who do y'all got between Bob Jones and Florence?
So Florence is actually favored by 9 in this game. Bob Jones has won their past 2 games pretty big, so expect this to be way closer than the experts think. But Florence did have a lot of great players graduate last year. They went 8-3 last year and snuck into the playoffs. I don't think they're as strong as they are last year, but I think they get the big win against Bob Jones pretty easily. So I got to go with the home team. Let's go Florence Falcons.
I picked Florence. I mean, looking at the stats, they do seem like they're going to win. So that was the main reason why I picked Florence.
Yeah, I got Florence too. You know, Bob Jones, we played them I think a few years ago. We blew them out here. Bob Jones isn't that good of a team, but you know, I think Florence wins this game pretty big.
Yeah, so I like what you said about, you know, Auburn played Bob Jones actually 2 years ago for the homecoming game.
Back-to-back years, I think.
And we whooped them, like you said.
Yeah.
So
I think that's Hoover's only win as well as Bob Jones. So.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not looking great for Bob Jones, but I'm gonna go with Florence. Like all y'all said, I mean, they're just the better team. Simply put, they're better than Bob Jones. And so yeah, go Florence. They're gonna beat Bob Jones this week. And next, we got a Region 3 at Region 3 matchup between Spain Park, who's 2-3 and 0-3 in Region 3 play, although that record might not be as bad as it looks. And then they're going away against Tuscaloosa County, who's 4-1 and 2-1 in the region, although that record might not be as good as it looks. Who do y'all got between Spain Park and Tuscaloosa County?
So Spain Park is actually favored by 2. I don't really think either of these teams are very good, but I just got a feeling about Tuscaloosa County winning this game against a very decent Spain Park team. They've only lost to Hoover, Thompson, and Vestavia Hills. Those are their 3 losses, so they'll be looking to bounce back. But Tuscaloosa County has a running back named Kevin Riley, who's a 4-star committed to Miami. So watch out for him. I think Tuscaloosa County is just the stronger team. You know, they don't play very great teams, but they're playing a great team tonight. Go Wildcats.
I have to agree with Taylor. I actually did my research and I looked up the teams that they had lost to and won to. And so they do have a really good chance of beating the, Spain Park.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with both of y'all on this one. I think Tuscaloosa County, I think they're a decent team, but, you know, like earlier in the year when we had Countdown, we had them featured on one of our picks as well, but I think they're playing, who were they playing that time? Wasn't it?
They were playing Thompson,
yeah,
and that was the one game they lost.
Of course, they lost that game, but, you know, I think Tuscaloosa County gets a win here. I'm going to say about a field goal.
So I'm going to have to do like Kirk Herbstreit does on College Game Day and fix the graphic here. I'm going to have to pick Spain Park. I'm going to have to disagree with all of y'all.
And he wonders why his record is so bad.
Because as Spain Park, here's the thing. Tuscaloosa County, they played Oak Mountain last week, who's 0-5 going into that game, and they beat Oak Mountain 24-23. They beat them by 1 point. Oak Mountain, a team that had gotten blown out by every team they played so far this year, including a 5A team. So I'm going to have to go with Spain Park because out of all those games, I mean, they played all of them like kind of decently close. You know,
they lost to Hoover.
Okay, here's the thing. I think Hoover would beat Tuscaloosa County, but that's not the question. I'm going to say Spain Park is winning on the road against Tuscaloosa County.
Hoover lost to Mountain Brook.
I know that.
Spain Park is beating Tuscaloosa County. Give me them by 7. And now we move into a Region 1 at Region 1 matchup, and this one is between number 10 Baker, who's 5-1 on the season and 3-0 in Region 1 play, and they're going away against Alma Bryant, who's 2-3 on the season and 0-2 in Region 1 play. Who do y'all got between Baker and Alma Bryant?
Baker is favored by 19,
Yeah.
and they'll win by a lot. The Baker Hornets keep buzzing. Josh Flowers and Bryce Kane, we highlight them almost every week. They continue to put on a show for their respective committed universities, Mississippi State and Auburn. Go Hornets. They win big and continue to send a statement to the state. Rank them higher.
I have to agree. They are favored by a lot, so they are going to win. I have a very strong feeling.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree again with both of them. But you know,
I actually have to fix the graphic.
yeah, Max Messman over here. But you know, I think Baker's a great team. You know, they played well last week, and you know, I think they win this game big, away.
I'm gonna agree with all of y'all this time. I'm not gonna fix the graphic.
I'm
I'm not gonna fix the graphic this time.
Graphics.
But I will say, I mean, Baker coming off that loss against Dothan, which none of us really expected, except for Audrey apparently. You know, that was a big win for Dothan, and it was a big loss for Baker as well, because Baker, I think they were number 7 going into that game, and they've dropped all the way down to 10.
Yeah.
So
and
I mean,
Dothan is actually number 7 now. So
But there's still a lot of
Exactly,
time.
so-
There's still a lot of time to get that back up to high ranking as well.
yeah, and Auburn Bryant's just not really a great team. They haven't had a great season so far. They're usually not like super like good at football. You know, they're usually better at other sports, including like baseball. But I'm going to go with Baker on this one on the road. Give me Josh Flowers, Bryce Kane, like you just said, and go Baker. Next, we got Region 2 at Region 2. A bit of a trap game here. Number 8 Enterprise, who's 4-1 and 2-1 in Region 2 play, going away against Prattville, who's 2-3 and 1-2 in Region 2 play. Who do y'all got between the Wildcats and the Lions?
So I don't know what a trap game is, but Enterprise is favored by 16. Enterprise is not as great as we thought they were after the win against Auburn, and they've had some trouble against good teams, but Prattville is not a great team compared to, you know, the Centrals and everyone. They're kind of having a rebuild year, I would say, in Prattville. Enterprise also has a weird quarterback situation, very similar to Auburn's. You know, they got a bunch of different people trying it out. But watch out for Keon Dunlap, a 3-star safety for the Wildcats. Actually committed to Indiana, so a little bit of a different school. He's going to make big plays on defense, and he's going to win Enterprise this game. Go Wildcats again.
Enterprise they've just like seemed to be doing really well this year, it looks like. So yeah, go Wildcats.
Yeah, for the 4th time in a row, I'm going to agree with both of them. And, I'm going to go with Enterprise. I don't know about Max, but you know, I'm going to go with Enterprise. Enterprise is a very good team. They played well here at Auburn, but the week after they lost terribly to Central. But you know, I think they're going to win this game pretty big.
I do want to say something about Enterprise before you actually make your pick. I love their offense. Like, I love that triple option, you know, old school, Army, old Georgia Tech. I just love it. It works too.
Yeah. So what I meant by trap game when I said that is basically it's like when a team, you know, coming off of a couple, you know, not so great wins, you know, but they're still winning, which is Enterprise 4-1. Going on the road against Prattville, who hasn't looked great this year. Like, let's just be honest, they haven't looked as good as they usually are. But I mean, Prattville's still a hard place to play, no doubt. And so Enterprise is going into Prattville. Hey, some of y'all might disagree, but I think that Enterprise is going to win this game. But I feel like it could be very close. I hear a lot of people don't think it could be very close. Enterprise is going to win this game. Give me them by 7 points, no more than 10. Give me Enterprise by 7. Now we move into a very interesting game. Region 4 at Region 4. Number 9 Sparkman, who's 5-0. Nobody expected this to happen. And they're 3-0 in Region 4 play. They're going away against James Clemens, who's 4-2 and 3-0 in Region 4 play, coming off that hard loss against Marshall Shoals. Who do y'all got between Sparkman and James Clemens?
Sparkman is favored by 12 in this game. But this game is for the top seed in Region 4 right now. Both these teams 3-0 in the region, the only 3-0 teams. James Clemens' home environment in Madison, Alabama is one of the top home field advantages. We were actually watching it on Live Look-In for the Enterprise game, or the homecoming game.
Yes,
when they played Florence, and we saw the crowd like getting into it, student section. And Sparkman has also played not great teams this season for that 5-0 record, while James Clemens has played very good teams such as Muscle Shoals and Mountain Brook. You know, barely losing to Muscle Shoals. So give me the Jets winning this game by a field goal. Heavy underdogs, heavy underdogs. I also want to highlight Jalen Brown on the D-line. He's a 3-star committed to Missouri. He'll have a huge game, get to the quarterback of Sparkman. Go Jets.
I just like the name Sparkman, so Sparkman. That was my pick.
You know, I was dissing on James Clemens last time. You know, some things are going to just have to change. James Clemens wins this game. Let's go. I'm with Taylor this time, you know.
Sorry.
Can't diss on my boy, but let's go.
So I, unlike Reese, I I really believed in James Clemens last week against Muscle Shoals. You know, they've looked pretty good all season. But I mean, going at home against Sparkman, who's an undefeated team, which granted they haven't played really good teams, but also looking at their schedule, even though they're not really good teams, they've still blown them out. Like, they've still blown out most of those teams. So I'm going to go with Sparkman on the road to beat James Clemens. Also, I picked James Clemens last week, and they let me down. They lost to Muscle Shoals. So I'm going to go with Sparkman winning on the road. Very close one, though. Very close. That home environment, like you said, is going to be tough to play against. But give me Sparkman on the road over the Jets. And now we got 3 huge games that we're about to pick. And we're going to start with Region 2 at Region 2. Number 7, Dothan, who's 5-1 on the year and 3-1 in Region 2 play. They go away against the now number 1 Central Red Devils, 5-0, 4-0 in Region 2. Who do y'all got between the Wolves and the Red Devils?
So Central is only favored by 5 in this game. I think that is way too low. Dothan is a good team, but I just don't believe in their offense. I do believe in the Central offense. Andrew Alford continues his hot start. He has 20 touchdowns, only 1 interception. I think he's at like 1,600 yards right now. And they have a 5-star recruit, Cameron Coleman, who is committed to Texas A&M. I think he's actually one of the top recruits in the country as well, in like number 3 to 5 range, I'm not sure. But he already has 9 touchdowns. I guess this weak pass defense for Dothan that we've been seeing in the past few games, I think Central wins this game easily and shows why they're now number 1. Go Red Devils.
I have to agree with Taylor. They are number 1. And also, it's usually a really close game whenever we play them, or pretty much when anyone plays them. So
we always lose when we play.
Yeah, that's true. That's also a reason why I picked Central. But yeah, go Red Devils.
No way. You picked Dothan.
Let's go. Central.
Yeah.
Okay, Dothan, what happened?
Max, who are you going to pick, Max?
I
gotta fix the graphic right now.
I am not.
I think it's gonna be Dothan.
There is no graphic to fix on this one. I'm going Central all the way. I think that one, two weeks from now against Auburn, that is going to be a huge one in the Duck. Obviously, Auburn's got to worry about Opelika this week. But, I mean, this Central team, like you said, really good. Cam Coleman, we actually commentated one of his basketball games last year when they were in the playoffs against Smith Station. Heck of an athlete, you know. So I'm going to go with Central. Go Cam Coleman. Go Red Devils. Andrew Ashford or Alford? Alford, yeah. He's a really good quarterback. So Central is going to win this one big at home. Next, we got Region 3 at Region 3. Number 2, Thompson, who just came off of a surprising loss against Clay Chalkville. 4-1 overall and 3-0 in Region 3. And then they're going away against number 6 Hewitt Trustville, who since losing to Central in Week 1 have not looked back. They're 5-1, and 3-0 in Region 3 play. Who do y'all got between the Warriors and the Huskies?
So before I pick this game, I want to talk about Reese, talking about Clay Chalkville losing by 50 to Thompson.
Shout out Tigers Den.
Shout out the Tigers Den podcast. Reese, his picks are always awful, but on here they're pretty good. But Thompson is favored by 6. But I'm a huge fan of this Hewitt Trustville offense, led by senior Peyton Floyd, who has 14 touchdowns and only 3 picks. There's lots of weapons on the outside, an amazing running back room. They have 4 running backs actually over 200 yards on the season. So the Huskies get the upset, and Thompson loses 2 in a row for the first time probably ever. So
Yeah. I picked Trustville also because I feel like they can get their stuff together finally. But hopefully so yeah, I hope that but Trustville wins and beats Thompson.
It was a mistake. It was just a rookie mistake there in the podcast. Just made a rookie mistake saying they would lose by 50. Clay Chalkville, congratulations to them. Hooray, you won. Good. Next game. Thompson wins this game. I'm going to say about a touchdown.
Didn't you send Hewitt last night?
What? I changed it. No, I literally look at the thing.
Yeah. For reference, we text each other our picks before we actually film, so we kind of get a sense of what we're about to do on this show. And both of them picked Hewitt, and also, I mean, you were saying Thompson, there's no way they win this game. You know? And
losing your homecoming game? No.
I have to disagree. Now, I know I did, along with Reese, I made that mistake of picking Thompson on the podcast. But Clay Chalkville's a
Hey, I picked Clay Chalkville. That's all I'm gonna say. You know,
Go watch the podcast and you'll hear Taylor talking about Max Mesman football.
my record's like
Okay.
37-13.
Max
but-
Mesman's
okay,
just like Jalen Waddle.
Clay Chalkville is a really good 6A team, number 2 in 6A. And I think Thompson's going to go on the road and beat the Huskies. The Huskies are really good this year, better than they have been in previous years. But I think the Warriors go on the road, prove that they are the 3-time reigning state champs looking for a 4th this year.
MVP.
And I'm going to go with Trent Seaborn winning this game for Thompson on the road. And now we got our main matchup of the night, Region 2 at Region 2, the 98th installment of the rivalry between number 3 Auburn, who's 5-1 overall and 3-1 in Region 2 play, and they're going to Opelika, who's 3-3 and 3-1 in Region 2 play. Who do y'all got between the Tigers and the Bulldogs?
So Auburn is favored by 8 in this game, but I might have to get canceled. I gotta go. I'm just kidding.
Oh my
I gotta go with
gosh.
Auburn Tigers.
Scared me.
You know, I got friends that go to Opelika, family friends. You know, I have family that actually graduated from Opelika. But when this rivalry comes up, we're rivals and we don't speak to each other until after the game's over. You know, we're bros, but
This is your family.
before this whole week, I haven't talked to my friends from Opelika this entire week. So
wow.
Good.
Auburn is just a deeper team. I feel like we have more weapons than Opelika. Go Tigers, and we get a huge win before going into a bye week, and then an undefeated number 1 Central more than likely.
I have to agree with Taylor. Let's go Tigers. I feel like we have a really good chance of winning. No.
Yay! Let's go!
Go Tigers! A high till I die.
What's your pick, Reese?
Yeah. Boogers anyway.
Reese is lagging over there.
All right. Let's
I gotta clean the graphic right now.
cut straight to the point, like Max Mesman would ever say. Auburn's gonna win this game. Just plain and simple, Auburn's gonna win this game. We're gonna be there tomorrow night, or actually tonight. We're gonna be there tonight, and it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a very good game, and I think Auburn wins this one close because it's a rivalry. Every rivalry game is always close, except Vanderbilt and Tennessee.
Dang.
Auburn wins it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Auburn on this one as well. The classic rivalry, 98th installment, and also like we talked about earlier in the show, 47-47 all the time with 3 ties as well. But I mean, the winner tonight, you get the biggest bragging rights for the next year. Because Opelika going into last year's matchup was leading the series, but then Auburn tied it up, and now Auburn is going to lead the series 48-47 going into next year's matchup. Give me Auburn on the road against Opelika to win by a lot. I'm going to go with Auburn by 14 on this one. And that'll do it for AHS Countdown from myself as well as the rest of the crew here at AHS Countdown, as well as a very special thanks to our guest picker, Drew Durkin. We hope you all enjoyed tonight's game, and we hope to see you here next Tuesday when Auburn Volleyball takes on Columbus and Opelika in a senior night doubleheader.